Now in this video, we will go through some of the SQL interview preparation tips. So the first tip would be that, so whenever you receive or get any SQL, whether it's on a live coding interview, or maybe let's say take home test, or maybe hacker rank or lead code, your first choice would always be to run and execute complete workable SQL. So your first attempt should be to write like a complete workable SQL. It's okay if you make any kind of a minor mistakes or a spelling mistakes, like maybe such as writing the wrong spelling of select or from, or miss any comma, etc. But your first run or your first attempt always be to run like a workable SQL as exactly as possible. And let's say that if this complete a SQL is not possible, for some reason you're not able to write the complete SQL, at least explain your approach and thought process to the interviewer, and try to write the code or a SQL to the best of your abilities. Whatever you can write, just try to write at that time, and don't lose hope. At least explain your approach and your thought process, and whatever best you can do at that time, do that. Some of the ways you can practice your SQL for the interview would be you go through some of the lead code questions or hacker rank questions. So these two platforms, lead code and hacker rank, would be a good platform to practice for the interview, because your interview question would look quite similar to the questions present in lead code and hacker rank. So I would suggest practice some of the easy and medium level questions. Obviously you can try hard questions as well, but I would say the first choice would be to at least practice the easy and medium questions, and if you get a chance, if you get a time, try some of the hard problems as well. And the best way to practice those easy and medium level questions is to set up some kind of a timer. Let's say, for example, for easy questions, for easy level questions, try and set up a timer like 2 to 4 minutes, and practice that whether you can solve that easy problem within 2 to 4 minutes of a window. And similarly for medium level questions, try to solve that problem within a time span of 4 to 7 minutes. Sometimes you know how to solve this problem, but if you're taking more time, then it would not solve the complete purpose. So my suggestion would be always set up a timer for easy and medium level questions, and within 2 to 4 minutes for easy and 4 to 7 minutes for medium level question. Now whether it's a live coding exercise or a take home test, make sure ask clarifying questions if data or problem statement is not clear to you. So whenever you receive any problem statement or a data, and if you feel that you have not understood completely, don't shy in asking some of the clarifying questions. So be upfront, ask the clarifying questions, and make sure that you're clear with the data as well as the problem statement. And finally, I would say that for your practice your SQL for the interview, practice some of the concepts like joins, left join, right join, and some other joins. Practice the importance of subquery, why do we write the subquery, what is the advantage of subquery, and practice SQL questions which requires you to write subquery. Similarly, go through some of the window functions, whether it's a row number, rank, sum. Make sure that you practice enough on those windows function as well, because some of the interview questions on the SQL would require you to write join, subquery, window functions, and at last I would say aggregation as well. Make sure that you know how to use group by, having summation, and some other concept as well. So this would be my some of the interview preparation tip. Let me reiterate quickly. The first point would be always your first choice be to write the complete workable SQL. Don't think that if you're writing 80% of the time, 80% of the code, that will be good enough. Make sure that you're writing 100%. Like, make sure that you're writing the complete workable SQL. If the complete workable SQL is not doable, is not possible, then at least explain your approach and thought process, and try to write the code to the best of your abilities. Practice your SQL as much as possible in some of the platforms like lead code and hacker rank, because in these platforms the questions looks exactly like your interview questions, and at the same time you don't need to install any software, you don't have to worry about any data or anything. And make sure that ask some of the clarifying questions if data or problem statement is not correct. And finally, make sure that you have gone through enough practice on some of the concepts like join some query window functions and aggregation.